Thomas Diamond, brought to you by Pepsi. Every Pepsi refreshes the world. Soriano in left, Bird in center. Xavier Nady needed a GPS to find his way out to right field. It's been a while since he started a game defensively in the outfield. Ramirez, Castro, Baker, and Lee across the infield. Coyhill once again doing the catching today, and he'll be receiving pitches from 27-year-old Thomas Diamond, making his second major league start. See his numbers against the Brewers. Very impressive with the fastball across the top of the zone. A really nice straight changeup, occasional curveball. I'll tell you, his game plan was good against the Brewers. If he can execute a similar game plan against this Reds team, we're hoping for good things.
Any excuse to play some Neil Diamond. We'll do it. Adrian Johnson will call the balls and strikes. The crew chief is Tim McClellan, Andy Fletcher, and Mike Everett at second and third, respectively.
It almost looks like the sun could come out any minute. What a bizarre day. I don't think there was any rain in the forecast as we went home from the ballpark yesterday afternoon, but it was surely here this morning, and as we get closer and closer to first pitch, it's starting to clear more.
Chris Heisey will lead it off. Recently had taken away a lot of playing time from Drew Stubbs, who had a huge game yesterday after a long slump. Stubbs with the ultimate game-winning home run. He had 3 hits. So it's Heisey to lead it off. Here we go. Strike one on a fastball at 94. A 15-minute rain delay. The wind now has died down to 17 miles an hour, which is still pretty brisk. Inside on the fastball, 2-1. Well, we saw a lot of swings and misses from the Milwaukee Brewers against Diamond in his debut on Tuesday. He lost that game, but it was a quality start. This time he hits Heisey, and the leadoff man is on.
That changeup just got away from Thomas Diamond, tailed inside, and just did clip the uniform shirt of Chris Heisey. He'll head on down to first base. And you mentioned the swings and misses against that Brewers team in Thomas Diamond's last outing. A lot of them came on high fastballs, 4-seamers across the top of the zone, and a lot of other ones came on the straight changeup. Having a little trouble finding the release point there to Heisey on that straight change.
He was in the minor leagues with Edinson Volquez in the Texas organization, and I think there are some similarities in terms of guys who are going to throw a lot of pitches, might struggle with that strike zone, but they have strikeout stuff. Called strike on Miguel Cairo, veteran utility man. Brandon Phillips getting the day off, but is available if needed off the bench. Fouled the ball off his left shin late in the game yesterday, and actually was replaced in the ninth for defense by Cairo. Double play ball. Castro, the flip. Baker dropped it. And they do give him the out at second. I don't know if he ever did have possession, but because he was reaching into his glove, he got the call from Andy Fletcher. Dusty Baker's going to come out and will argue to no avail. It'll be a fielder's choice. That should have been a double play. And the Cubs, I think, are fortunate to get one out.
I think that's the best way to describe it, Len. It should have been an easy double play, a hard hit ball up the middle of the field. A relatively slow runner in Miguel Cairo at the plate.
Oh, he never had it.
It looked like he never had control of that baseball. That's a huge break for the Cubs here in the first inning.
In fact, I think the ball is out before he even puts his hand on it. Yeah.
It just hit the heel of his glove and bounced away before he was able to get that bare hand up there and grab the ball.
I have a feeling Dusty's going to be more upset when somebody runs back up and watches the replay.
It takes a little longer here at Wrigley than it does at most ballparks because whoever's job it was to run up there and check the replay, they're not even halfway to the clubhouse yet.
And on their way back, he didn't have it. It's a bad call.
He dropped it.
It is a long journey, as you mentioned, to the visitors' clubhouse. And Dusty saying what Andy Fletcher told him. He's pulling it out of his glove. See if Diamond can take advantage of the break. Although he should be facing Votto with 2 outs and nobody on, so a partial break. Votto, hate to even say it, but without a hit in this series. He did walk a couple of times in the opener. 0 for 6 otherwise. Inside. That's been another problem defensively. This Cubs team has had a lot of chances to help the pitching staff, and at various points has not. Tons of unearned runs. Well, how many double play chances just have not been converted this season?
A lot. I mean, we haven't obviously kept track of that particular stat, but I think if you ask Alan Trammell, who basically is in charge of working with the infielders here with the Cubs, he'd tell you way too many.
Let's see if they can do it this time. Castro will take it by himself, and he airmailed it into the dugout. That will be an error because Votto will be allowed to go to second. Maybe a little happy feet there from the rookie, Starlin Castro.
Yeah, he ends up hitting the bag at second base with his right foot and wanted to unload the ball quickly while at the same time leaping over Miguel Cairo, the runner coming into second. Just too many things going on physically right there for anybody. And Castro airmails it into the dugout.
Big swing, as always, from Johnny Gomes. The error on Castro, his 16th of the year. Bob, is it safe to say that there have been occasions early on in Starlin's career when he's hurried when he doesn't have to, and there have also been occasions when he's taken too much time, and it's just kind of getting a feel for the rhythm, isn't it?
It really is, Len, and because he has such a strong throwing arm, I think that has caused some issues with taking a little bit too much time on the most routine of plays. And you know, he's a 20-year-old with tremendous physical gifts. He thinks he can make every play.
Yep.
The good news is Starlin Castro is one of the first guys on the field every day. He's out here trying to refine his game, but it's just going to come with more experience, more game experience. There's only so much you can simulate at 3 o'clock in the afternoon or 10 o'clock in the morning. You actually have to get out there at game speed and try to execute some of these plays. And as he gets more experience, I think you'll see him smooth out the rough edges of his game.
I think the other thing the coaching staff would like to see, and we'll find out today because it happened in the first, his errors have kind of been bunched together. And so when you make a bad play early in a game, the idea of forgetting that play and not letting it affect the rest of the day. He's had 2 games in particular that we can remember where he hasn't been comfortable. But for the most part, he has really upgraded that position defensively for this team. Ball 4, Gomes is on.
And for me, Len, this is the real unfortunate byproduct of the defensive miscues here in the first inning. You force your starting pitcher to throw a lot more pitches than he should have had to throw to get out of this first inning. And that's going to take its toll somewhere in the very near future, whether it be the 4th or 5th or 6th inning. You're going to have to start thinking about Thomas Diamond's pitch count, and is it time to get him out of this game? Well, he's thrown a boatload of pitches here in the first inning that he should not have had to deliver.
Well, I mentioned the unearned runs the Cubs have given up by far the most in all of baseball. And Diamond trying to make sure no more score. But that's not going to happen. As Jay Bruce finds the right field corner. Votto in. Gomes is going to score. And Diamond should have been out of this inning. So it's 2-0 Cincinnati.
That's what good teams do when you present them with an opportunity to send 3 or 4 batters to the plate that shouldn't have been up in the inning. Jay Bruce with a rocket line drive down into that right field corner. Votto is going to score easily from second base. And with 2 outs in the inning, Johnny Gomes got a great jump off first, and he scored without a play.
Juan Francisco playing third. And he pulls one foul. I believe the throwing error is not going to affect the earned status of the runs, because it simply allowed Votto to move up a base. No Roland, no Phillips today, but the Reds still with 2 runs here in the opening inning. The pitch outside. Talked about it the other day, Bob. There are a lot of teams with losing records on this unearned run list. That's going into action today. Way too many.
Yeah, and if you even take it a few more places, the next few more places are teams that are really, really struggling this year.
Slicing foul out of play to make it 1-2 on Francisco.
I think every major league team has a break camp in spring training. They know that they're going to have injuries to deal with during the course of the season. They know there's going to be a certain amount of inconsistency with their pitching and with their offense. But the one thing you would like to be a constant is your defense. Make the plays you need to make. Get your team off the field and back in that dugout swinging the bats. And I'll tell you, these kind of innings where you give the opposition 4, 5, or 6 outs in an inning, they are just crushers.
Especially for a team that has struggled to score runs. Well, Francisco lining balls all over the ballpark, but he hasn't hit one fair yet.
He must be upset with first base coach Billy Hatcher about something. Really been jumping out of the way one direction, then the other direction, ducking underline drives, trying to get as close to the tarp over there on the first base side as he can.
That's high on a 4-seamer. 2-2. Swing and the miss. Strike 3 to end the inning. But the Reds get 2 on the double by Jay Bruce. The Cubs are coming up from Wrigley. Tyler Colvin's been out of the lineup for the last couple of days, so Starlin Castro will lead off for the first time in his major league career. Baker at second for DeWitt. Lee, Ramirez, Bird, Soriano. As Bob mentioned, Xavier Nady has not played a whole lot here lately. Coy Hill in for Giovanni Soto, and Thomas Diamond batting ninth.
A little bit of a different look for the Reds lineup today. Johnny Gomes in left, Chris Heisey in center, Jay Bruce over in right field, Francisco and Yanish on the left side of the infield, Cairo and Votto on the right side, Ryan Hannigan doing the catching for rookie left-hander Travis Wood.
He's been very impressive early on as Castro becoming the Cubs' fifth leadoff man this season. Rockets one foul, eighth start, and he has not given up many hits. 28 over almost 45 innings.
He has a very sparse repertoire too. He uses a two-seam tailing fastball, a cut fastball, and a straight changeup. He does have a curve and a slider, but he rarely uses them. Works the fastball on both sides of the plate, uses a straight changeup in fastball counts, and he is off to a tremendous start in his major league career. You know, and in that respect, I think it helps to have Mike Leake on this starting Reds pitching staff as well. When you've got a soul brother, so to speak, to talk to about your experiences. Castro looks at a cutter on the inside corner for a strike three, but Leake and Wood undergoing some similar things this year in their inaugural season in the major leagues, and I think that helps both of the men.
Just caught the inside corner. And now it's Jeff Baker who hits it foul. Blake DeWitt on the bench for the first time as a Cub. After 6 consecutive starts. Both Reds runs were earned in the top of this inning. Baker's been a lot better against lefties than righties this season, and he hammers this one foul. I noticed the hardest hit balls so far have been pulled way right or way off to the left, as opposed to straightaway center, which is where the pitchers want to avoid, with the wind blowing straight out toward the batter's eye.
Definitely, I think it's part of the game plan of Travis Wood with that cut fastball inside to the righties.
Yanish with a strong play, and Votto digging it out at the other end. Well, the Reds had played stellar defense all season, and that was a Votto saying, pumping up his teammate, I think. That was a solid play by Paul Yanish.
I don't know how you can do it much better than Yanish did right here. Went into a slide to stop his momentum as he fielded the ball and made a strong one-hop throw, and a nice pick by Joey Votto at the other end. Yeah, the Reds have been among the National League leaders in defense all season.
This will be the inning as Cairo throws out Derek Lee. A very quick 1-2-3 for the rookie lefty. 2-0 Cincinnati. Run double from Jay Bruce. A called strike on Ryan Hannigan. Now it takes a team effort over 162 to win a division, and the Reds have gotten contributions from all around. I'll tell you, Bob, I think in a lot of ways, especially right at the end of Dusty Baker's tenure here, he was unfairly maligned for some of his lineups. Maybe not giving certain guys a rest, as that's a base hit into center. For this reason, you look at what he's done with this Reds team, giving Scott Rowland the day off today. I think Phillips with the shin probably needed a day. But when you feel confident that you have backups who can help you win, you will play them. You're more apt to give them time.
And in turn, you show that confidence to your bench players that they're a part of this team and there are expectations on their performance as well, and they respond as the Reds have this year. It's been a nice situation for Dusty. He has a lot of very, very usable pieces on this Reds team.
He was criticized for too much loyalty to his veterans. Well, look what he did with his closer yesterday. Francisco Cordero did not even get a chance to save it because he was all over the place. Fly ball down the left field line. That's going to be out of play. Tuesday, August 17th is Polish Heritage Night here at Wrigley Field, presented by Pepsi. Watch the Cubs host the Padres at 7:05. Don't miss the special discounts and Polish theme activities before and during the game. Fans attending the game can also get a commemorative Cubs cap with a $5 donation to Chicago Cubs charities, which will help support Chicago's Polish community. For more info, visit Cubs.com. Dusty said after the game yesterday, those games are going to take some hours out of my life every day. Knocked down by Ramirez. Castro will still throw, but it's late. And Giannis has an infield hit. That'll put the pitcher Wood in a bunting position.
Just ticks off the end of Aramis Ramirez's glove, and there's that strong arm of Starlin Castro trying to make something out of nothing, but too much speed from Giannis. He legs it out for an infield hit. I mean, really, Len, looking up and down this Reds roster, with the exception of Drew Stubbs, who's had a subpar year batting average-wise. He's only hitting .234, even though he's not in the lineup today, but he has hit 14 home runs and driven in 51. And everybody that's been asked to either come off the bench as a part-time player or the starting players who are grinding it out on a regular basis, everybody has responded well to Dusty this year, having very solid seasons.
I'm guessing in 01 you would not have played all the guys off your bench and rotated if you didn't have the veterans you had.
Well, that was a completely different story. We had a bunch of old guys. We had a very old roster that year, and we didn't think we were going to be able to make it through 162 playing a regular lineup on a daily basis. We had a strong bench, so we incorporated those guys where we felt it was proper, rotated guys in and out of the lineup, and much like this Reds team up to this point of the season, everybody responded really well.
Diamond will throw. Baker covering first. Most managers would like to have an everyday lineup, take that headache away, but you can't always do it that way.
Well, that's the easy way to do it. Just plug in the same 8 names and put in a different pitcher on a daily basis. Maybe use your backup catcher once in a while, but just keep running them out there every day. But given the travel demands of Major League Baseball now, the irregular schedule with night games followed by day games, followed by night games, odd start times, I just don't think it's practical to have an 8-man everyday lineup. I mean, certainly you're going to have guys that you rely on more than others. And if you had to name a starting lineup, it would be pretty easy to do, but you got to use them all.
One strike to Heisey. Corner men in. They're back up the middle. Second and third, one out. Lou was asked about his veterans. He said one guy might need to give some more time is Marlon Byrd, as Soriano twisting and catching on the warning track. A tag and score play by Hannigan to give Heisey a sac fly, and it's 3-0. That ball was hit pretty hard, and the wind, of course, helping just about everything. And Soriano with a nice catch for the second out.
Yeah, it was fortunate Heisey didn't get more air underneath that baseball. This is more of a line drive to straightaway left field. Nice twisting, turning catch by Soriano, going back right in front of the vines, but Hannigan able to tag and score easily from third.
Giannis still at second, and it's Cairo. Called strike. Lou has given the guys in his outfield time off, and with the situation with Tyler Colvin jumping in, he's been able to sprinkle in Fukudome, move Colvin to center or left when necessary. Nady in there today. Ramirez has gotten time off. He's had some nagging injuries. Really the only guy who's played every single day over the last 3 months or so is 20-year-old Starlin Castro. Boy, Hill getting his second consecutive start. Giovanni Soto with a sore right shoulder. It's a sprained ligament, but he hopefully will be back in the lineup tomorrow night in San Francisco. Hey, don't forget to check out our WGN Baseball blog on WGNTV.com. I have a post about broadcasting games down the stretch in a season like this, game notes from stats, and much more. Once again, WGNTV.com. Click on sports, look for the link to Len and Bob's blog. There's Giovanni Soto. As the shoulder bothers him when he hits, not when he throws. Backpedaling, Soriano makes the catch, and the inning is over. 3-0 Cincinnati after an inning and a half. Bird, a fan favorite, hanging with a fan from the hometown team. Find out more of what's possible at att.com. AT&T, rethink possible. And Bob, some big TV news today. AT&T Uverse TV launched the Chicago Cubs multi-view app in partnership with WGN Sports. For Cubs home games on WGN starting today through the rest of the season, AT&T Uverse viewers can now call their own shots. A multi-view app allows the viewer to choose from 7 different camera angles and watch 4 at the same time. Ramirez skies to left. Johnny Gomes back to the warning track. 4 up, 4 down for Wood. Multi-view is on channel 780 and available to all UVerse TV customers in the Chicago area. That's pretty cool. Just can't tell Skip and Mark in our truck. We talk about managing the game along with Lou. You can direct the game along with Skip Ellison. A strike on Marlon Byrd. Here you see what our director Skip Ellison and producer Mark Brady and everybody in our production truck gets to look at. I don't see that they're spying on us in the booth anywhere in there. That's good.
But we know they can at any moment.
Yes.
Yeah.
Big Brother is watching. The 1-1 to Bird. One hopper. That was a nice defensive play just to preserve his health. Paul Janisch got in front of it, just trying to knock it down.
That's a play you'll see a lot of infielders take off to the side. They'll let that ball get close to them, turn their body sideways, and try to Ole catch it on the side. But Janisch stayed right in front, risking life and limb to stay in front of that one and make the play.
Soriano hits the first pitch. Travis Wood hasn't broken a sweat on this warm day. 6 up, 6 down quickly, 3-0. Check out some more Beck. Budweiser, it's what we do. 2-0 on Joey Votto. Grounded into a fielder's choice in the first inning. Moved to second on a throwing error by Starlin Castro on that fielder's choice, and then would score on the double by Jay Bruce. Outside at 3-0 to a patient hitter. I know I'm just forgetting somebody, but I can't remember over the last few years. I guess Rich Harden would be the only guy who would stand out. A right-handed four-seamer starter. for the Cubs. Most of their right-handers over the past several years have all been sinker ballers. But I guess Rich Harden would be the one guy I could think of.
We go back to the days of Mark Pryor and Kerry Wood. Both guys featured four-seamers as their main fastball. They may have mixed in a two-seamer from time to time, but yeah, with the smaller ballparks and the bigger, stronger hitters, I think everybody went to the sinker ball just trying to keep the ball on the ground.
Breaking ball that time and a strike to Johnny Gomes. A walk and a run for him already. Second start of the series. 0 for 4 on Friday with 3 strikeouts. He's 1 homer away from 100 in his career.
We've had a little fun with Johnny Gomes and his pre-swing routine that he goes through. Eventually he's going to grab the bill of that helmet and pull it up and down and make sure that his eyes are wide open. I was watching him in batting practice. He does the same thing even when he's just wearing his regular baseball cap. It's just a habit.
The 1-1 on the way, fouled back. I think Gomes, with that wind blowing straight out, has to at least be in the back of his mind, number 100. And he has not hit one over the last 15 games. But wind blowing in or out, I have a feeling Johnny Gomes is thinking home run.
Yeah, it's not due for a lack of trying. He hasn't homered in that stretch of time. It's the primary thing on his mind as he steps into that batter's box.
Cubs got Diamond on waivers from Texas last September. Born in Metairie, Louisiana. Pitched for Coach Randy Bush at the University of New Orleans. Randy now the Cubs assistant general manager. Metairie, Louisiana.
And you were drawing some comparisons yesterday between Joey Votto, the runner at first base, and Albert Pujols by their setup in the batter's box. The similarities go on and on. They both play first base, are both great defenders. And Votto and Pujols, both guys that will steal a base. Maybe not so much in this particular situation, but in key situations where they need to get a runner into scoring position, Votto is a guy that's capable of getting a jump, stealing a bag, putting himself into scoring position for the guys hitting behind him in the order. And I believe Albert Pujols is still leading the Cardinals in stolen bases.
This pitch probably hits him if he doesn't hit it first. Three and two. There goes Votto, ball 4. Cub fans, the Pepsi Refresh Project is providing millions in grants to help communities around the country. The Cubs are competing with other MLB teams for a $200,000 Pepsi Refresh grant. Their idea is to support the Humboldt Park Children's Baseball Leagues, allowing hundreds of kids to play baseball at no cost to their families. Vote now at MLB.com/Pepsi Refresh or text Cubs to 76462. Team with the most votes by August 17th will win a $200,000 grant for their idea.
Well, the Cubs aren't going to win the division this year, but that's one thing we can win. Get on the computer. I've voted several times myself already for those improvements to Humboldt Park, and it'll benefit a lot of kids. It costs you absolutely nothing. Go online and vote.
That was rookie Casey Coleman in the bullpen, and a base hit for Jay Bruce. Votto had to make sure the line drive got through And the Reds have the bases loaded with nobody out. Bob, what have we learned about leadoff walks?
They're never, ever a good thing.
Especially back-to-back to start the inning. And Diamond in a major jam here.
I mean, I've been around the game a long time. The game itself has been around for a long time. And to the best of my knowledge, nobody's figured out a way to defend the walk. At least if the batter puts the ball in play, you've got a chance of getting him out.
Juan Francisco pops it up. Castro out. It's going to drop. Throw is going to go to second, and they get a force there. The infield fly rule was not in effect. I was looking around to see if an umpire was going to put up his arm. He never did, and I think it was because of that wind and the fact that Castro never really did have a beat on it. So it's 4-0. That'll be an RBI, fielder's choice for Juan Francisco.
That's a play that may have been made in the first inning when we had the overcast conditions, but you can see from the shadows, everybody looking right up into the sun, the wind pushing that ball out to center field. Fortunately, Xavier Nady had his wits about him, realized that he still had an opportunity to get the force play at second. But the Reds are going to tack on another run. Some shoddy defense.
Here's Hannigan with runners at first and third. The Reds have scored in each of the first 3 innings. And we're keeping an eye on a no-hit bid in Toronto after the highest scoring game of the season yesterday. 17-11 Toronto over Tampa Bay. The Rays are being no-hit again. How many times have they been no-hit now? 2 or 3 times the last couple of years. Brandon Morrow threw 8 innings, no hits, 1 walk, 16 strikeouts, as the Jays lead 1-0. Ooh. Tampa Bay got a no-hitter recently. Matt Garza on the 26th of July. Tampa Bay no-hit by Mark Burley, a perfect game on July 23rd of last year. Dallas Braden, perfect game against the Rays on May 9th this year. Edwin Jackson no-hit the Rays on June 25th. Poor little guy.
I know how he feels.
2-2. Diamond needs a strikeout or a double play ball. Cincinnati already leading 4-0, and Travis Wood cruising along early. Curveball in the dirt outside. Paul Janisch on deck. Long look at Coy Hill. Glance at both of the runners. And the 3-2 pitch with Francisco running. High pop into right. Nady not bothered by the sun yet. Here comes a runner from third. And another run. Johnny Gomes in. 5-0 on a sac fly. Shoot us an email. Len and Bob at Tribune.com, and you can follow us at Twitter.com/Len and Bob as well. Paul Janusz takes low and outside. So the 3 walks given up today by Thomas Diamond, they've all come around to score. Two and 0. Knee-high fastball at 94 to make it 2-1. Pop up that'll find the seats back behind the Cub dugout. Gary Stark and the Cubs clubhouse staff would like to send get well wishes to Charlene Brooks, his mother-in-law, recovering in the hospital. Charlene, we hope you're feeling better. Gary's thinking about you. Also want to send out happy 60th birthday wishes to Mary Marzullo, longtime Cubs fan. Right center, Nady and Bird getting together. It'll be Marlon Bird to make the catch. They add 2 more. A couple of walks really hurt Thomas Diamond. It's 5-0 Cincinnati. Of Cincinnati, we want to welcome Mike McConnell today. Starts tomorrow morning on WGN Radio 720. Monday through Friday, 8:30 to 12:30 every day. Check him out. Moved from Cincinnati, where he was #1 for 2 decades. WLW Radio. Hearty welcome to Mike. Xavier Nady against Travis Wood, who has a 5-0 cushion off the inside corner, ball 1. For Xavier, just the 28th start for him over the Cubs' last 84 games. The pitch, 3-0. Travis Wood, a second-round pick in 2005, born in Little Rock, Arkansas. 4 straight bad ones, a leadoff walk.
Chicago Cubs baseball on WGN TV is sponsored in part by the Illinois Lottery Mega Millions. Tuesday's Mega Millions jackpot is $64 million.
Now Coy Hill. Second consecutive start. Now, it's been a while for Coy. His last home run was May 29th of 2009 off Chad Billingsley of the Dodgers. Ground ball. They will turn it 6-4-3. Paul Janisch has had a very strong day defensively. And just like that, 2 outs, and Thomas Diamond will be lifted for a pinch hitter.
I guess you could play the what-if game all day long, but boy, if the Cubs had made just a couple of defensive plays for him in that first inning, it may have been a completely different story for Thomas Diamond. Forced to throw a lot of pitches to get out of that first inning. Struggled with his command in the third inning and being pinch hit for here in the bottom of the third.
So we're going to see Casey Coleman in the fourth, but Blake DeWitt will pinch hit. High for ball 1. Chopper back to Wood. And the third inning comes to a quick end. Leadoff walk, no runs, 5-0 Cincinnati. Expedia road trip and their schedule. Expedia.com, where you book matters. At San Francisco Monday through Thursday, and then our first trip to St. Louis. How about that? Mid-August, first time the Cubs will be in St. Louis. Casey Coleman making just his second major league appearance.
The first one was highly forgettable against the Brewers in that blowout game on Monday. Pitched only 2 1/3, gave up 8 hits in that ball game. He's a sinker baller. When he's at his best, you'll see a lot of ground balls to the infield.
Called strike on Chris Heisey. Major League debut for Coleman was historic. It was 6 days ago, Monday versus Milwaukee. He struggled, 6 runs, 8 hits, and 2 1/3. But when he threw that first pitch, his family, the Colemans, became the first ever 3-generation family of pitchers in Major League history. His grandfather Joe and his dad Joe, who at one time was a Chicago Cub, also pitched in the majors, and both were all-stars. Granddad back in 1948 and his dad in 1972. Full count, 3-2. Way up in the air for Castro in shallow left center, and he has it. Get on the swing at the Captain Morgan Club every Monday for your chance to win batting practice on Wrigley Field. Polish off 60 wings in 60 minutes. You'll be swinging them out of the park at the end of the season batting practice. With 25-cent wings on Mondays, you won't break the bank. Visit CaptainMorganClub.com for details.
You talked about Casey Coleman's father, Joe. Actually, the guys that are playing for the Daytona Cubs get to see Joe Coleman a lot more than Casey does during the summer. Joe Coleman is the pitching coach for the Lakeland Flying Tigers down in the Florida State League.
So the Detroit Tigers, they can't fly, but the Lakeland Tigers can.
Yeah.
You think the Major League Tigers would be able to fly?
It's all about geography.
It's easier to fly in Florida than Michigan, huh?
Yeah, humid air.
Yeah. Casey's full name, by the way, is Joseph Casey Coleman, so he is Joe as well, but goes by Casey. 2-2. Cairo with a little floater. Baker with the snag. Nicely done by Jeff Baker. And the Cubs' first 1-2-3 inning. 5-0.
The third highest average in the major leagues at 406. For all your home improvement needs, shop and save big money at Menards.
Castro leading off today and leading off this bottom of the fourth. So no for Brandon Morrow, and he might not even get the win. Evan Longoria with 2 outs in the ninth, breaking up the no. And the Rays have runners at first and third, trailing 1-0 as Morrow has been taken out of the game. 16 strikeouts, 2 walks, and only 1 hit allowed. Well, imagine Kevin Gregg will be coming in. We'll keep you posted. That's just wide of third. And a 2-1 count on Castro.
I'm really surprised about Brandon Morrow's outing today. I think you're going to see a lot more stellar outings from that young right-hander. Has a tremendous arm. In his time in Seattle, there was a lot of confusion. Should he be a starter? Should he be a closer? Well, he settled in pretty nicely as a starter.
This young 23-year-old left-hander has been really good. Travis Wood. Castro sends a fly ball to right. Jay Bruce on the warning track. 1 away.
The 2010 Chicago Cubs baseball season on WGN is brought to you by Bud Light Lime. The drinkability of Bud Light with the refreshing taste of lime.
Rain has gone away. The sun is out. Wind is blowing straight out to center. As Jeff Baker looks at a strike, the Cubs without a hit to this point. They've had 1 base runner. That was Xavier Nady, who walked on 4 straight to start the third, but he was quickly erased on a 6-4-3 double play. Baker off the end of the bat, but Bruce is going to get there. Bob, this kid doesn't give up hits. Mentioned he took a perfect game into the 9th inning in Philadelphia in his 3rd major league start. The no-hitter was broken up, but he went 9 innings, didn't allow a run in that game, and didn't get the win. That is a very tough luck outing for anybody. Problem was he was facing Roy Halladay. His team didn't even win the game. How do you not win a game when you take a perfect game into the 9th? 2-0 on Lee.
He just has a very subtle movement on his pitches. I wouldn't call it a sinker, but his tailing fastball has just enough movement to get the ball off the barrel of the bat out toward the end. The cut fastball has very similar subtle movement the other direction, gets it off the barrel down toward the trademark. Inevitably, you end up putting the ball in play weakly, which is exactly what he wants.
Three and one. It is now final, and Morrow did stay in. He did finish it. A 9-inning complete game, 1-hit shutout. Finished with a punch out. 17 Ks for Morrow today. 1-0 Toronto.
Wow.
So maybe he talked Cito into leaving him in. Well, obviously he did. 136 pitches. Drive deep to right. Bruce, however, is going to have room. And Travis Wood has not allowed a hit through 4 here, leading 5-0.
Subway. Hey, Chicagoland viewers, how'd you like to win five $5 footlongs from Subway? Just be the 500th texter to text Subway to 97999. Go to WGNTV.com for complete information and rules.
Votto, Gomes, and Bruce versus rookie righty Casey Coleman. In for the starter Thomas Diamond after 3 innings. Diamond charged with 5 runs in his 3 innings. Floated down the line. It's going to drop fair, and Votto will motor into second. First hit of the series for Joey Votto, who was leading the league in hitting going into action on Friday. No longer atop the leaderboard, but he is leading in on-base percentage and slugging.
Boy, just cued that sinker right off the very end of the bat into no man's land. Shallow little blooper just inside the left field foul line. It's frightening to think how this series would have gone if Joey Votto was red hot like he usually is when the Cubs face the Reds.
Gomes has walked twice and scored both times. He's a guy who would rather swing the bat than walk. One and one.
I think he'd rather swing the bat than eat. This is a guy that lives for every at bat he gets in a major league game.
One and two.
Good change up from Casey Coleman. Has very similar movement to his sinking fastball, but about 10 miles per hour slower.
And Votto saw that ball got away from Hill and that Coy couldn't find it, and is now at third with nobody out on a wild pitch charged to Coleman.
Not so sure that ball did get to the dirt. It looked like it hit the webbing of Coy's glove and just trickled away, but he didn't know where it was initially. Once he turned his back to the infield, that was Votto's cue to break for third base and made it easily.
That'll force the infield to come in, with the Cubs already trailing by 5. The wind really gusting now, straight out. Three and two. That's what it looked like about 11:30 this morning, but it was raining at the time. A third walk today for Johnny Gomes. Let's step aside and see what's coming up on WGN. First and third, no outs. Jay Bruce with a 2-run double in the first, a single in the third. He's played every game for the Reds this season. You have Lee holding on Gomes at first. Everybody else in double play depth. Outside 2-0. How about this note? On Monday at Pittsburgh, Jay Bruce recorded 9 putouts. That's 1 short of the NL single game record for putouts by a right fielder. Cubs' Bill Nicholson did it in 1945. Raul Mondesi in 1995. 10 putouts by a right fielder. And I'll tell you, Jay Bruce today had 3 in the 4th inning. Ball 4 to load him up. I know we sound like a broken record, but as Larry Rothschild heads out, you get into a survival mode with the starter not going very long today. You have Carlos Zambrano probably limited to around 80 pitches tomorrow. This is the third of a 20-game stretch without an off day, and I think maybe the most important thing, Bob, is now you're dealing with rookie pitchers with confidence that could be a little fragile if you get pounded in a spot like this. So this is a situation no pitching staff and no manager and pitching coach want to be in.
And you're playing against a really good offensive ball club that can smell that blood in the water right now. They know that the Cubs bullpen is manned mostly by young, inexperienced arms. Being very patient, forcing Casey Coleman and Thomas Diamond before him to throw the ball over the plate before they commit. And when they have committed to swing the bat, they've done some damage. Yeah, not an ideal situation.
Leadoff double by Votto. Back-to-back walks to Gomes and Bruce, and now it's Juan Francisco. Very aggressive, bases loaded, nobody out. His last at bat, and he popped it up. Ended up getting an RBI out of it. Ground ball to Castro. Baker late to first. Like a clean play, a slide by Jay Bruce. So an RBI for Francisco on another fielder's choice, and it's 6-0.
You know, and at least part of the issue the Cubs have had turning these double plays. Look where Starlin Castro is when he fields the ball. He's almost behind second base. Jeff Baker coming in at a very extreme angle to the bag. Almost has to look back over his right shoulder to take this shovel toss. Then try to avoid the sliding runner. Try to get a throw off toward first base. Just a very odd geometry of those double play attempts we've had in this game.
You saw Starlin's toss did not really lead Jeff into that relay throw. It also looked like Starlin was a little extra careful to make sure they got the one out. They've had a little trouble with that today. Called strike on Ryan Hannigan. 1-1 the count. Detroit trying to avoid the sweep, leading at home over the Angels 9-4. It's been a rough second half for Jim Leyland's club. The Angels last night clinching their first road series win since mid-June here at Wrigley Field. Detroit 4 games under 500. The Angels right now at 500 at 56-56. Torrey Hunter's suspended for 4 games for his actions on Friday night. And he did not appeal. Fly ball as Gomes gets ready to tag, and a slip by Marlon Byrd. He does make the catch. The throw goes into second base. 7-0 on a sac fly by Hannigan, his second of the game.
Nice recovery by Marlon Byrd out there in left center field. Towering fly ball. You'll see Marlon shading his eyes as he gets over into position to make the play. And when he attempts to stop, his feet go out from under him, but he never takes his eye off the baseball. Able to get back up to a knee, make the play, and hustle the ball back in to hold the runner at first.
So Johnny Gomes, 3 walks, 3 runs without an official at bat. Paul Janich flies out to Byrd. They had a couple Only inning they haven't scored, the fourth. It's 7-zip Reds. Seven runs on only 5 hits today. The walk has really hurt the Cubs pitching staff. 5 walks issued, and 4 of them have turned into runs. Ramirez leading off the 5th. Approach-wise, Bob, what do the Cubs need to do differently? Travis Wood with just 36 pitches through 4 innings.
I think against a pitcher like Travis Wood, rather than look for a particular pitch, look for a particular zone, either inside or outside. He throws the cutter into the righties. He sinks the fastball and the changeup away from the right-handed hitters. I think you have to give him one side of the plate and look to the other side.
And Ramirez drives it down the right field line. Hits the side wall, so it's foul.
And he really has only thrown, by my unofficial count, 2 breaking balls in this game. He's tried to get ahead of right-handed hitters a couple of different times, throwing a first pitch slider. But other than that, it's all been fastballs, either cutting in or sinking away.
Wood's last outing was Monday at Pittsburgh. 7 innings, no runs. Got a 4-0 win. Gave up just 2 hits. They were singles. 41-year-old Russ Springer, who's now on the DL, and 40-year-old Arthur Rhodes also pitched in that game. And according to Elias, it was the first time ever a rookie started and 2 pitchers at least 40 years old combined for a shutout. So if you add up their ages, it's 104, and Travis Wood representing only 23 of those years. Called strike 3, comes all the way back, and fans Aramis Ramirez looking for his second punch out. Time now to check in on our PNC Cubs achiever. Marlon Byrd against left-handed pitchers on the list. Ramirez at 395 in 07. Billy Buckner, left-handed hitter, hit 389 against lefties in 1978. Sammy in 01, and Keith Moreland in 1983 at 382. PNC Bank, proud to be an official sponsor of the Chicago Cubs, and just as proud to support the fans and community who cheer them on. PNC for the achiever in us all. Travis Wood pitching to the conditions today. He's given up some warning track shots, but all for outs.
Let's probably see Billy Buckner on that list, but when you think about it, Billy Buckner hit everybody. It didn't matter if you threw right-handed, left-handed, power pitcher, finesse pitcher, made no difference to him.
Well, we've already had one close but no cigar, no hit attempt today. That was Brandon Morrow, who struck out 17 in a complete game, one-hit shutout. He got 26 outs without a hit against Tampa Bay. And Travis Wood has not allowed a hit here through 4 2/3. Going to be 5 as Bruce comes in. Jay Bruce has had 5 putouts over the last 2 innings. Off to the 6th. All Reds. In Chicago on January 14th, 15th, and 16th, 2011. Rooms are available now by calling the Hilton Chicago at 312-922-4400 and asking for the Cubs convention rate. Weekend passes will go on sale in early November. For more info, visit Cubs.com. Travis Wood has no hit the Cubs through 5. 1 strike on him, and he's done it on 45 pitches. Baker throws him out.
Kristen Lewis from Quincy is today's Hit the Jackpot with Powerball contestant. If the Cubs hit a home run in the next inning, Kristen Lewis will win 100 chances to win the Powerball jackpot. Wednesday's jackpot is worth $38 million.
Heisey hit by a pitch, sac fly, and a pop out. White Sox lost today in Baltimore 4-3, and the Twins won 5-4 at Cleveland. 5-run fifth did the trick. It's a base hit for Heisey, so the Twins have drawn to within 1 in the AL Central. Jim Thome with a home run for the Twins, number 578. In on the hands and fought off by Cairo.
Get off me, ball. Boy, that sinker came to eat right there. Started on the inside part of the plate and just kept running further up and in. Cairo hits that ball about an inch above his hands.
Baker out into the outfield grass for out number 2. We will be recording a brand new updated podcast after the game. You can go to WGNTV.com to view it starting tomorrow. We'll be there bright and early.
At least early.
We will be in San Francisco, and I love getting up early there, 9:30, 10 o'clock. Because, it's really noon here, so get my 14 hours of sleep in. Lee will take the bag unassisted. He gets Votto, and the inning is over. 7-0 Cincinnati. Cubs still looking for their first hit.
Against left-handed pitching, just ahead of the Twins. Toyota and your local Toyota dealers, official partner of the Chicago Cubs.
Bottom 3 in the order. And against southpaw Travis Wood. Certainly not afraid to work inside. That one was away to Nady. 1 strike on the Cubs right fielder. He has been the only base runner so far for the home team. Leadoff walk in the 3rd. Inside corner. Fastball at 90. 0-2. What a major league debut for J.P. Arancibia for the Blue Jays yesterday. Kind of got overshadowed by Brandon Morrow's performance today. He hit a home run on the first pitch he saw in the majors. Ended up with 2 home runs and 4 hits in his major league debut. Can't get much better than that.
Yeah, but it's all downhill. Set the bar way too high in that first game. They're going to expect that every day. That was my theory. Just kind of ease into it.
First player in modern baseball history with 4 hits, 2 homers in his debut. Starlin Castro knocked in 6 in his debut at Cincinnati. That was a major league record. Swing and a miss, strike 3. That has been an atypical at bat today in this regard. It actually went about 5 or 6 pitches. He's been getting a lot of early outs, but this time goes upstairs to get an 80.
I don't think anybody would say that Travis Wood has a big, overpowering fastball, but that time he was able to throw it right by Xavier Nady up above the letters.
In a way, the Cubs have had the DH today. The pitcher has not yet batted and will not in this inning. You had DeWitt hit for Diamond in the 3rd, and Colvin is going to hit for Coleman in the 6th. Well, Casey was better today than he was in his debut. Gave up 2 runs but 3 innings and a base hit for Coy Hill. So they break up the no-no with 1 out in the 6th.
Wasn't sure we were going to see this today against Travis Wood, the way he's been pitching. A little cutter that just caught too much of the plate for Coy Hill. He's ready for it and lines a clean single into left field for the first Cubs hit of the ball game.
The pinch hitter Colvin takes a fastball outside. Looks like we're going to see James Russell in the 7th. A pop up. There will be room for Francisco, and he has it.
Wrigleyville Rooftops has premier seating for up to 200 guests for corporate gatherings, family reunions, and bachelor or bachelorette parties. Individual and group tickets are available for all games. For more details, go to www.wrigleyvillerooftops.com or call 773-248-ROOF.
Starlin Castro, fly ball deep right. Jay Bruce back to the 368 sign, and he makes the catch. Still 7-0, the Cubs on the hit board, but that's it. Right now, click on the WGN Sports Game Zone banner to connect to all the up-to-the-minute stats and information while you're watching at home. Game Zone is sponsored by The Great Escape, pools, patio and play sets, hot tubs, and more. Another guy stole your t-shirt.
I wonder, you know, I go to the closet every morning and can't find a thing to wear. End up wearing these logo shirts. I much preferred my Krusty the Clown shirt today. Is that a Lollapalooza bracelet there?
It might be.
Cut those off after you get home.
Johnny Gomes has tied his career high with 3 walks today. As he faces Jeff Russell's son, James. A 2-generation pitching family. More cowbell. They were saying that a lot at Lollapalooza this weekend.
I know I was saying it during Lady Gaga's set.
You wanted less Lady Gaga and more of anything.
As much cowbell as you can bring.
I just want to know if Miss Gaga is going to follow us to San Francisco.
No.
She was in Houston when we were there, Denver, back home.
I think we're starting to see a common thread with Cubs playing poorly and Lady Gaga's tour schedule.
Two and one the count on Gomes. Here's the pitch. Just off the outside edge. Pirates today fired pitching coach Joe Kerrigan and bench coach Gary Varsho. Varsho, a former Cub. John Russell, the manager, called it a gut-wrenching decision. Both good baseball men. I don't think they'll be out of work for long.
No.
Another 3-2, and he has now set a new career high. 4 walks for Gomes. Let's step aside and see what's coming up on WGN. Unfortunately, that's what my scorecard looks like today. Lots of W's. Way too many walks given up by Cubs pitchers. 6 of them. And most of them have been pretty damaging. Fan reading up on tomorrow night's Cubs starter, Carlos Zambrano.
I prefer to call this my eco-friendly scorecard because, as you know, I write walks in green. And there's a lot of green on the card today.
Productive day for Bruce on both sides. He's had a very busy day defensively. And the 0-2 from Russell. The slider is outside, and Hill will get a new ball. They're still delayed in Florida. Cardinals and Marlins. I think that delay has been over 3 hours now. As called third strike to get Bruce.
Perfectly located fastball. A little push by Coy Hill right at the very end, but Adrian Johnson, the home plate umpire, had already determined that pitch caught the corner at the knees.
Well, they can do rain delays in South Florida. Those will be eliminated in 2 years when they move into their new retractable roof ballpark. You can get about 7 feet of rain at Landshark Stadium, whatever it's called now, and it has the best drainage in the world. Out into center, that's a base hit for Juan Francisco. There's still time to get great seats, including bleachers, for Cubs games this summer. To purchase tickets, visit Cubs.com, call 1-800-THE-CUBS, or visit the Wrigley Field box office. Padres and Braves, division leaders, coming to town on the next homestand. Great to have Rick Sutcliffe in the booth with us. He will conduct the 7th inning stretch here for the Chicago Cubs fantasy camp. Low and away to Ryan Hannigan. 2 on, 1 out. Reds leading 7-0. Cubs' next opponent, the Giants, trailing at Atlanta 5-3 in the bottom of the 8th. Braves are 38-15. That's the best home record in baseball. Russell has a sign from Hill. And Hannigan able to hold. 2-1. Russell in his 4th season with the Cubs organization, taken in the 14th round in 2007. He charges, spins, gets one. Relay throw to Russell just a little bit late. Nice try on the 3-6-1, but it'll be a fielder's choice for Hannigan.
Well, probably wasn't hit hard enough to turn a double play anyway, especially with the right-handed throwing Derek Lee initiating that double play. Neighborhood play out there at second for Castro that time. Both feet came off the bag as he went to get the throw, but he was in the vicinity.
So they're at the corners for the shortstop, Janisch. Ball 1. Phillies edged the Mets 6-5 in Philadelphia. Roy Halladay with his 14th win. Not a quality start. He gave up 5 runs in 7 innings, but his team gave him good support. He had 1 hit in that game as well. Brad Lidge got his 14th save. Base hit center field, 8-0. Janisch is 2 for 4, and as Gomes comes in. So Johnny Gomes, 4 walks, 4 runs.
That's why we come to the ballpark, Len, to see something you've never seen before. 4 walks, that's a good month for Johnny Gomes most times. 4 on the ball game today, and Paul Janisch stays hot at the plate. He's had 4 good at bats, 2 singles, and 2 deep flies to center field to Marlon Byrd.
Wood pops it up. Derek Lee right behind the mound makes a catch. Here comes Rick Sutcliffe with a stretch.
Former Chicago Cubs great Rick Sutcliffe. drought. Buy me some peanuts and Cracker Jacks. I don't care if I ever get back. Oh, it's root for the Cubbies. If they don't win, it's a shame for it. You're out at the old ball game.
All right, 1, 2, 1, 2.
Test 1, 2, 3. I know.
Now, Rick, this is called a cough button. If you feel like you're going to cough or swear, you hit the red button.
I might swear thinking about Brindley taking me deep. Oh, boy. I'm so glad that thing's over with. The things we do for Harry Carey.
Yes.
All Reds and Travis Wood today gave up the first hit of the game in the 6th inning. 8-0 Cincinnati. Rick Sutcliffe, our good friend, in the booth with us here for the Chicago Cubs fantasy camp. And unfortunately, we're not going to see you pitch tomorrow, but we hope for an update as Jeff Baker gives this one a ride, and it will get out.
Looky here.
Got it up into the jet stream and puts the Cubs on the board.
There's some karma there.
We were talking about.
I was on with Pat and Ronnie just a minute ago, and we picked up a base hit by Coy Hill, and now we're finally on the scoreboard. I am so glad for that song to end. I guess you are too, Bobby.
Yeah. Me and 40,000 other people. Now it's your chance to lease a new BMW 3 Series for $439 a month with nothing down and no security deposit. Visit ChicagolandBMW.com for details. Our BMW Ultimate Drive, the only drive of the game so far for the Cubs. Jeff Baker with a solo blast to left center field.
Now, how many homers did you give up, Sut?
I gave up 231.
And you told us during the break you have no intention of giving up another one tomorrow.
that number is going to stand pat. Now, I will tell you something else. And you know why Bobby's laughing, because he got a couple of them. That number wouldn't have been there. But another one that you were a part of were I led the league in hit batsmen a couple of years. Oh, yeah. I don't know if I got you, but I threw at you.
We'll check the numbers. Your bone chip fastball was right in the middle of my bone chip swing.
It wasn't going to hurt you if it hit you anyway. But I got to tell you, I have come a long ways at singing "Take Me Out to the Game," guys. Last year when I finished, I was so excited and happy to get it over with that I took my hat and a brand new pair of Maui Jims that were on top of it. And at least I got the sunglasses off before I threw the hat this time. So it's all about improvement, isn't it, Lynn?
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, you just want to get better from year to year.
Got the shades.
Well, these are Nikes, actually. I couldn't get Maui Jim people to send me another pair, so our good friends with Nike came through.
You did not hit Bob, apparently, in your career. But he hit you to the tune of a 364 average.
Yeah.
One of the few guys to get you, though.
No, not really.
And this is the 22nd anniversary of 8/8/88.
How about that, huh? I've told people many times that I was blessed with some all-star games and some opening days, but Len, that was the biggest event that I was ever involved in. It was the toughest ticket that I ever had to try to get a hold of for family and friends, and of course, it was determined that, God said, I'll let you know when you can turn the lights on here at Wrigley. We got rained out in the bottom of the 4th inning.
We had a piece from Cubs forever before the game about that night. And everybody was telling you, throw the ball, go, go, go. Trying to get in 5 innings as quickly as possible. And you talked about all the flash bulbs that went off on the first pitch.
You know what? That was the strange part about it. I mean, you know, back in '98 when Sammy and McGuire were hitting homers, you know, it seemed to happen all around baseball, and Bobby, it is today. But that was what was the first time you remember everybody taking a picture at the same time? That was the first time it ever happened to me, and obviously, the very next pitch, I give up a homer in the street. I'm not using that as an excuse. I gave up a bunch, but it really did. And I remember Harry Carey on the air going, you know, what just happened? I mean, I think he thought there was like an explosion or something. But
Ramirez gets a hold of this one. It'll find the gap in left center, right off the door. Lee's going to stop at third, and we might see a little action in the Reds pen here at some point. Still a 7-run spread, but the Cubs finally doing something offensively.
You know what, I got to tell you guys, you know, listen to you guys all year long, as always, a terrific job. I know when, Bobby, you played on some bad teams, I did it as well right here. When things don't go as well as you'd hope, you know, it's tough. But, you know, Lee Arthur Smith and I are out walking around the stands. We're saying hello to people. We've been down the left field line. We were over at Murphy's. You know what? It is still a pleasure and an honor to come to this ballpark and just experience what baseball and the history of baseball is all about.
It's very well put.
It's a cathedral. It's a baseball cathedral.
I mean, I was blessed to play here for a long time. I don't know that I exactly mean this, but a lot of times, I mean, the score really doesn't matter. You're going to have a good time, and it's going to be something that you never forget. And you know, watching you guys all the time, you're always showing pictures of the stands and the kids that are involved. To me, that's the best part of it.
And no matter what the Cubs' record is, when the team wins, people leave the park happy.
Yeah.
For that one day. The 0-1 to Marlon Byrd is a strike. The problem today, go ahead, Bob.
No, go ahead.
I was just going to say, the problem today has been walks. Johnny Gomes has been walked 4 times, and he's scored all 4. And with the wind blowing out, you know you can't give him a lot of free passes.
Well, Ronnie Santo asked me that just a minute ago on the radio. What's it like when your team struggles offensively? To me, Bobby, it's a lot like when you pitch on opening day. You know you're going up against that other team's #1 guy.
This will be a ground out, but an RBI. Well, everybody's safe. Airmailed by Francisco into the stands. 8-2. Still nobody out. And Ramirez will come home as that throw went out of play. 8-3. That'll bring out Brian Price. Get comfortable, Mr. Sutcliffe.
Well, I was a part of a lot of offense in this ballpark. I was hoping maybe I could bring some here, but you know what? This is, guys, I got to tell you, and Bobby, having managed and all the years that we played, and Len, all the teams you've covered, when you see teams like this, and the record's not what you hoped it would be, there's some frustration on the part of that. You love watching a team hustle. And you know what? I give a lot of credit to what Lou Piniella is still doing here. This team's still out there playing hard. We've had some fly balls that have gotten lost. You know, when it walks people, how that tends to slow everything down. But look at this. I mean, I think these guys still feel like they can win this ballgame.
First 4 have reached here in the 7th.
I'll tell you, if the rest of the team, and Len knows this as well as anybody, if the rest of the team would follow the lead of Marlon Byrd, this guy plays like every day is going to be his last game in the major leagues.
How about the All-Star game we had?
Unbelievable.
Had an opportunity to do that for Major League Baseball International, televised to all the world, but televised to all of our men and women, our armed forces, and the emails that came in after that game about people that had never heard of him. They didn't even really know where he was playing, but how much they enjoyed the effort he put out.
2 strikes on Soriano.
I wanted to go back to that first night game here at Wrigley just for a moment. Well, do you remember that day? I mean, you know, playing all day games at Wrigley, you used to, you know, waking up in the morning, have a cup of coffee, go to the ballpark. Yeah. What was it like waiting around for that game that day?
No question that it was different. And just the people and the number of requests for tickets. I mean, when you've got Bill Murray calling, you got Mark Harmon calling. I mean, you're going like, I'm a kid that grew up in Independence, Missouri, man. I'm not used to these. What are these people calling me for? And it was such just a great moment, and it was something that was without a doubt. I mean, it was needed here. There are times when we would come back from the West Coast and you get in at 6, 7 o'clock in the morning. You got to go out there and perform. And it was tough from time to time. And the way they've balanced it now, still having as many day games as they do, Lynn, I think they've got the best of both worlds now.
And I'll tell you, when you sing the stretch at night here, you got the spotlight on you, 40,000 pairs of eyes on you. That is going to be foul.
You know what, Bobby? I noticed you were laughing quite a bit when I was struggling to get through there.
That's what he does. He laughs.
I've heard you a couple of times too, pal. And that,
We operate under the same theory. Start low and slow. Let the fans start singing, and then you can kind of lip sync the rest of it.
Next time Bob sings, will you come and sit in his chair and just look at him and,
and
laugh?
Just laugh? I would love
just
to.
Laugh.
You let me know. I'll be here. I remember the first time I did it, Joe Girardi just, I mean, he said, you've got to give it up as much as you can. So, I mean, you throw the mic out there as much as you think you can get away with it. But, here for these fans at Wrigley, I mean, you guys know, it's all about effort. And I tried. I mean,
Just have a good attitude.
High fly to left. Gomes back already on the warning track, and he makes the catch. We've seen a lot of balls right to the wall. So Soriano just missing a 2-run homer. 1 out in the inning.
He fooled me there.
Yeah, I thought that one was going to go for sure. I don't think he got all of it. He thought he had enough of it. We get a little more assist from the wind on that one. Gomes tracks it all the way back to the vines and make the play.
Sutton, you see pretty much everybody doing a lot of the national games. What teams do you like? Let me just ask you this. Reds or Cardinals in this division?
I thought the Cardinals would want to run away with it when the season began.
Fair ball for Nady. Bird's going to trot home. It's 8-4.
Tell you what, Bobby, there's a guy I would like to see come back next year. Nady gets that elbow healthy, gets a few more at bats. I think this guy could put up a big offensive number in this ballpark if he's healthy.
He's always been a hitter when healthy, especially against lefties. He crushes left-handed pitching, but as you said, that right elbow just hasn't allowed him to consistently play defense. And when you're trying to find spots to drop a guy in as a pinch hitter or spot start him, that's no way to get the consistent at-bats you need.
It's going to be it for the starter, Wood, who had a no-hitter in the 6th. The Cubs with 4 runs in the 7th and still only 1 out. We'll be right back.
to handle that sun. I mean, obviously, Hall of Famers, but there's even more to it than all of the offensive things that they did.
Bill Bray is the new pitcher. It's 8-4, and a strike Coy Hill didn't agree with. Runner at second, only one out.
Andre still swears that I owe him $100,000. Remember when he was a free agent standing outside the gate in spring training, and I said I couldn't believe we wouldn't sign him. I said I'll give $100,000 of my money. Of course, Dallas Green wrote me a letter telling me to shut up, and he told me that I needed to stick to pitching and he'd run the club. But I just thought I would help a little bit.
Don't say it if you don't mean it.
I meant it, but here's the deal. Y'all remember right here when Eric Shao hit him?
Yeah.
And I charged? Well, I got fined and suspended for 8 days without pay. Well, there's your $100,000.
There you go.
Huh?
Yeah, that was a scary incident. That gets by everybody. Wild pitch. Nady now at third.
Pick up one more right here. So we got the first hit of the afternoon. Just pile on right here, huh, Bobby?
Yeah. Take it where you can get it. Can't be picky right now. I am kind of surprised to see Dusty go to another left-handed pitcher after Travis Wood with the all right-handed hitting lineup the Cubs are featuring today, but we've got plenty of relievers available in that bullpen if Bray runs into any trouble here.
Carlos Zambrano is going to hit. And the pitcher spot is Hill. Couldn't hold up. That's a big out for Bray. 2 down.
I'm going to put you on the spot about the Reds and the Cardinals. Who's the best team in baseball this year, Seth?
Once again, the easy choice is to say it's the Yankees, but I mean, Bobby, we know. I mean, if something goes down, if they need something, they've got the resources to go out and get it. You look at that rotation. Pettit's going to be back, and what a big-time postseason guy he was last year and has been again. You think about it, though, they lost 2 games in the World Series last year, and the guy that beat them is down there in Texas now. And it looks like the Rangers are on their way to the postseason, and you know what? I don't think the Yankees are in any hurry to face him again, and I know he'd look forward to that opportunity. So good stuff. I look at the parity in baseball. We've had 8 different World Series champions the last 9 years. The last 5 years we've had different champions. We've had tiebreakers each of the last 3 years. There's a lot of good stuff going on.
Yeah, if the playoffs started today, the National League would have 4 new teams in the playoffs that weren't there last year.
Outside to Big Z, Tampa Bay, certainly among the elite, almost got no hit again. Brandon Morrow was 1 out away in the 9th. Way outside.
Saw something the other day. That makes 15 times now that a pitcher's taken a no-hitter into the 7th inning or beyond. I mean, wow. They're going to lower that mound again. The Bob Gibson rule, man. We're going to be pitching uphill one of these days.
Flat ground.
Lower the mound and move the fences in.
Pitch from second base. 2-1. Did you ever pitch just for fun off the old mound? Well, that'd probably feel weird for you now, wouldn't it?
It felt weird pitching at Dodger Stadium and Shea Stadium. I don't think they got the memo that they were supposed to lower it back then.
The pitchers were getting bloody noses on those mounds. Those things were way up there.
Ducking planes there in New York. Well, guys, I got 4. Now, you guys ought to be able to take it from here. I might get another one here. Bobby?
Do it. Don't stop now. You're rolling.
He has pinch hit quite a bit. He is not up there to walk, I can tell you that. He wants to swing. And he chops it to Bray. Low throw, and Joey Votto has dug a couple of them out of the dirt. Rick Sutcliffe, the best.
Right,
good luck tomorrow.
Thank you so
much.
Mow him
down. Fantasy camp. rookie left-hander's been really good. Today took a no-hitter into the 6th inning. But the Cubs coming back, not only breaking up the no-no in the 6th, but 4 runs in the 7th. Visit your Honda dealer. Test drive a 2010 Honda CR-V. 1 unearned run in that 7th. As right-hander Mitch Atkins steals a strike to Chris Heisey. Atkins, a 4th Cubs pitcher, 3rd out of the bullpen, and they have all been rookies. Check swing, and Heisey hit it foul, 0-2. Well, it would have been nice, Bob, to see the Cubs get that 5th run, runner at 3rd, 1 out, and they could not. Add number 5. Long road back, trailing at 1 point, 8-0. A pop up near first base as Hill and Lee get over there, and it's Derek to apply the leather. 1 out. I think Rick Sutcliffe enjoys the chance to root for somebody for a couple of innings a year when he comes up to the booth here doing all the national games. You have to be impartial. A strike on Miguel Cairo. Always great to see Rick Sutcliffe. Two and nothing on Cairo. He's going to keep that Expos dream alive. Two bouncer as Castro backing up, and it cost him. Miguel Cairo with a base hit.
Well, then we've been talking about Votto and Pujols and the comparisons between the two great first basemen, especially in their batting style. Pujols perhaps a little wider in his setup, and his left arm is a little straighter on the backside there, but very similar in their approach. If we actually take the names off there, you'll see that their heel is in front of their toe on the front foot. Something we've seen a lot of hitters do recently to try to concentrate on keeping that front side closed rather than open the front foot with the toe pointing forward. It's almost like they lead with their heel just to remind themselves to keep their front hip and front shoulder closed.
(8-4) Cincinnati. It looked like a blowout early, but the Cubs have made it a game here in the late innings. Atkins trying to keep the Reds somewhat close. Three and 0. Third stint so far with the Cubs this season for Atkins. Made his major league debut last season. 2 relief outings in July. Fly ball deep the other way, and Soriano just watches it fly. A 2-run shot for Votto, and it's 10-4. Already had a career high in home runs. He just adds to it with his 28th.
This is what I remember about Joey Votto in his first season in the major leagues, his tremendous opposite field power. That's a ball that's on the inner third of the plate and down, but gets the barrel of the bat on it and knows where that one's headed.
The pitch to Johnny Gomes. He is doing everything in his power to put a ball in play today. Oh, 0-2.
Well, and I'm sure some Cub fans remember the name Cal Daniels. Played for the Cincinnati Reds. Career was somewhat hampered by injury problems, but he was a left-handed hitter that had prodigious opposite field power. Kind of reminds me a little bit of Joey Votto.
Cal Daniels finished his major league career with the Cubs. 1992. Bloop base hit for Gomes. He's been on all 5 times.
Eight runs combined between Votto and Gomes, the 3-4 hitter in the Cubs, or rather in the Reds lineup.
Cincinnati getting ready for a huge series, their biggest of the year, against the St. Louis Cardinals. They're trying to do it off a sweep here, leading 10-4 in the 8th. They actually opened the ticket windows at Great American Ballpark for 6 hours today as they get set for that series. Outside corner, 1-2 on Bruce. St. Louis may arrive in time. Whether or not they start in Florida is another story. Ground ball base hit to right. Third hit for Bruce. Fourth straight hit in this inning. And again, they've done it all today without 2 of their better players. Scott Rowland and Brandon Phillips both out of the lineup, but 12 hits and 10 runs.
And for that matter, Drew Stubbs, a guy that's had a subpar season by most standards, but he has absolutely killed the Cubs this year.
Right-hander Jordan Smith has a ball, but right now he's just watching. One and 2 on Juan Francisco. He's knocked in 2 today. Very windy afternoon. Each team with a home run. Baker for the Cubs and Joey Votto for the Reds. Swing and a miss, strike 3.
We talked about Francisco as this series began. He was the Reds minor league player of the month coming in. Had been red hot down at AAA before his call up here to the major leagues. We're trying to do a little bit too much today. He's not going to get many opportunities to play with Scott Rowland as the everyday third baseman.
And he's batted with runners on a lot. Twice with the bases loaded. This time with first and third. It could have been a huge day for Francisco. But that's something you learn, isn't it, at this level, when you do get a rare opportunity to try to not be overly aggressive. It's not easy.
Now that consistency of approach, whether there's runners on base or no runners on base, make sure you get a good pitch to hit. Try to hit it hard somewhere. think a lot of times young players maybe put a little extra pressure on themselves as they walk up to the plate. They see those runners out there in scoring position, or in the case of Francisco, bases loaded. And their eyes get a little big. They get a little overly aggressive.
Castro out. Soriano in. Starlin putting up his hand as he puts two hands on the ball, and the inning ends. Joey Votto with a 2-run homer makes it 10-4 Reds. Ninth, Chris Heisey moves from center to left, and the new pitcher is right-hander Jordan Smith, who will go into Johnny Gomes' spot. Top of the order, Castro is 0 for 3, a strikeout and 2 warning track flies to right. 10-4 Cincinnati here in the 8th. Outside corner, 1-1. Smith has not allowed a run since the break. This is his 10th appearance. 10 innings, 8 hits, but no runs here in the second half. He's a rookie. Seen a lot of rookies in this game. All 4 Cubs pitchers rookies, and 3 of the 4 for the Reds.
And up to this point, Smith has been a strike thrower. He's only walked 4 in 23 innings of work.
Math is bad. 2 of the 3 from Cincinnati. Rookies, as Bruce is going to catch another one on the warning track. 3 warning track flyouts for Castro since the 4th inning. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 fly ball outs to Jay Bruce for the Cubs. And most have been on the warning track.
To the warning track, yeah. Must be one of those thin winds here at Wrigley today. Doesn't seem to be helping a lot of the fly balls.
I don't think it's a coincidence. Well, it might be. I mentioned the 9 putouts for Bruce on Monday in Pittsburgh. That was Travis Wood's last start. So for whatever reason, Travis Wood gets a lot of fly ball outs to right. Baker homered to start the 7th inning rally, in which the Cubs would plate 4 runs. Sharply hit ground ball right to Cairo, who looks it in, pops the glove, and gets the out. Visit the official online shop of the Chicago Cubs at Cubs.com. Browse the largest selection of official gear, including the latest apparel, nostalgic memorabilia, and authentic classics for the whole family. Get your gear from the official source, the Cubs.com shop. Accept no substitutes. Derek Lee looks at a strike. Ground ball to third. Francisco Tabado, and that's the inning. Jordan Smith works a 1-2-3-8. Here comes the ninth. Reds 10, Cubs 4. See, I just ad-libbed that line.
The world's biggest cue card down there on top of the dugout.
Paul Janisch. Ball one. We're in the ninth. Second inning of work for Mitch Atkins. Got a number for you here. It was technically a quality start for Travis Wood. He gave up 4, but only 3 were earned, 6 1/3, and the Reds probably will improve to 45 and 15 when they get a quality start. That's 30 games over 500. The Cubs are 36 and 31, just 5 over the 500 mark when they get a quality start. That's a problem.
That's a big time problem.
The Cubs have more quality starts than the Reds, but the Reds are going to have 9 more wins when they get a quality start. A pop-up out in the left. Soriano will get there.
Well, and you know, we touched on at the top of the show today the idea of playing spoiler when you really don't have much left to play for other than personal stats. The idea of going out there and at least trying to rain on somebody else's parade, try to slow the progress of those teams that are looking forward to the postseason, put some pressure on them, make them play their best baseball to beat you. I think if the Cubs could do that the remainder of the way, at least they could go home at the end of the season with their heads held a little bit higher. You don't want to be one of those teams that playoff contenders circle on the schedule and say, we can't wait till we play the Cubs because I know we can take 2 out of 3, if not sweep them. You don't want to be one of those teams. Even if you're well out of contention yourself, you want to be a team that people don't look forward to playing against.
Stubbs thrown out. Got down the line quickly, but Baker got him. Well, it won't be easy for this offense. Madison Bumgarner tomorrow, a 3.20 ERA. Carlos Zambrano for the Cubs. Ryan Dempster, Tim Lincecum Tuesday night right here on WGN. Tom Gorzolani, Barry Zito Wednesday night, and then Randy Wells and Matt Cain on Thursday afternoon here on WGN. And then it's off to St. Louis. One and one to Heisey. One and two. The Reds have not scored in just 2 innings going into this night, the 4th and the 6th. And the Cubs with all their runs in the 7th. Detroit did beat the Angels 9-4. National League, the Rockies over the Pirates 8-4 final. Carlos Gonzalez with his 25th home run. He had 4 hits for the Rockies. I think he's leading the league in batting average. Yep, started at 321, now up to 327. Milwaukee pounding the Astros 11-5 in the bottom of the 8th in Milwaukee. Casey McGee with his 16th. That hit him, just caught part of Chris Heisey's jersey.
Second time today that Heisey's been plunked by a pitch, although you can't really call it a plunking. Both times the ball just grazed his jersey as it went by. That one was a little bit closer than the one that started the ball game.
That'll give Cairo his 6th at bat as he hits it foul. Padres have lost 6 of 9 going into their matchup at Arizona today, and behind Matt Latos, the Pods lead 2-0 in the 3rd. Jerry Hairston Jr. with his 9th home run. Fly ball right field. Nady still drifting, and it popped out. And the Reds get a run. Cairo all the way to 3rd. An RBI triple from Miguel Cairo, and it's 11-4.
Nady misplayed that ball right off the bat. It was hit a lot better than he realized. And once he saw the ball was going to go over his head, he just kind of started drifting back very casually, and the wind kept pushing it and pushing it and pushing it. He puts his hand up there to shield his eyes, but by that point it's too late. Ball hits right in the middle of the glove and pops out.
So Atkins has to face Joey Votto. Ted Lilly gets his 2nd start for the Dodgers today. He's been touched for 2 runs in 2 2/3. He's facing a former Cub teammate Jason Marquis, who's coming off the DL. It's 4-2 Dodgers in the third. Saw Carlos Zambrano pinch hit in the 7th inning, grounded out, and he will be back on the mound as a starter tomorrow night. Back in the AL, Texas and Oakland scoreless in the 4th. The Rangers are 8.5 up on second place, Oakland in the West. And the Royals and Mariners also scoreless in the 4th inning in Seattle. Votto strikes out. But the Reds add yet another run. We'll go to the bottom of the 9th. They lead 11-4. On this homestand, and in danger of being swept by the first place Reds. Jordan Smith with a 1-2-3-8 and a first pitch strike to Aramis Ramirez. This will always be a special place for Smith. He got his first major league win here at Wrigley Field on July 1st. One and two. Went after the high heat, couldn't find it. So what day is the Bob Brenly Parade in San Francisco again?
It's been canceled indefinitely.
Oh, it has.
The weather's going to be too cold there.
Yeah, it is going to be cool coming up.
Projected highs in the mid-50s, and yeah, we want it to be a nice, sunny, warm day.
Conquering hero returns to his roots. But at least we won't be at the stick.
Small consolation. Boy, every now and again I have these nightmares about Candlestick Park, and along with a lot of other former players, I would be more than happy to kick in for the dynamite to blow that place up. Yeah, it's so funny because, we're seeing a lot of rookies make their debut with the Cubs this year, and they get to come here to Wrigley Field in front of a full house, and for the most part, it's been a beautiful weather summer. We didn't have that luxury.
Marlon Byrd, deep to right center.
Come on.
Caught by Stubbs. Cubs are wearing out the warning track today. So at 2 down, it's Alfonso Soriano who's 0 for 3. He's flied out twice, grounded out once. He's hit at least 20 homers every year since 2002 as he sits on 19.
Might as well get it out of the way right now.
I agree. Career high of 46 in 06 with the Washington Nationals. Those 19 lead the Cubs. Tyler Colvin second with 17. And Alfonso also leading in RBIs with 57. Here's a pitch. Ground ball. Francisco up with it behind third. The throw right on the money as the Reds sweep the Cubs. A couple of close games to start the series and a blowout today. 11-4 the final score. We'll have more from Wrigley Field in a moment.